Hi and welcome to 21metrics podcast. This week I'm here with Martin Wichmann, who is a new CEO of Kvarn X, and I'm here to discuss markets with Martin. But first, don't forget check our partner sideshift.ai. I will add the link to our show notes. But Martin, welcome to our show, and
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
welcome, man. I think we could like at first discuss like who you are, and you have been in the crypto industry for a long time. I think you started with ETHLend and then Aave, and then you have been involved in many projects. But I think you could tell us like what is your story in crypto?
Yeah. Well, my journey in crypto actually started even before ETHLend. A friend of mine from Germany, where I used to study, called me that, have you heard about this Bitcoin and blockchain? I was like, yeah, sure, a little bit. Passed it in 2013, the first time I heard about it. But 2015, 16, he was like, hey, we have a German startup doing crypto payments, so POS systems for cryptos. And I was like, this is the best idea ever. Went around Finland, talked to some IT companies and some payment service providers, and quite quickly came to the conclusion that crypto payments, 2016 might be a bit too early for it. But that led to me becoming more active in the local community. We started a Telegram group, which at least back in the days was the biggest one here in Finland. And through that, I met Stani Kulechov and joined the ETHLend founding team. So this was early 2017. We did the ICO, and later on, much better known these days as Aave. So 2018, I traveled the world and worked for Aave, and was very active in the crypto space. But then I came back to Finland, did some other stuff in between. But for the past 7th year now, I've been a little bit, depending on the year, vice chairman, or board member of the Finnish Cryptocurrency Association Consensus. And now my latest endeavor, I joined Kvarn as the CEO.
Wow, what a story! Like you have like vast background, and I remember maybe my first time I heard about you. It was like about ETHLend. I remember like in 2017, and as you said, that later became the Aave, or it's like Avara nowadays, but Aave is still like the protocol. And
Yeah, Aave is the product, and Avara seems to be the parent company. There's multiple products these days under the umbrella that Stani is carrying.
Yes. So a lot of experience, and we are about to discuss markets and everything here with Martin today. So, but yeah, let's start with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is now well above 100K, and we are seeing the spot price dropping a bit, so it almost it went beyond 110K, and now we're seeing some like selling pressure from retail and whales, but I think like the cycle is not over yet. So if you look at like power law, Bitcoin is a bit above like the power law fit currently, and it could like even go like 2 to 3x this cycle. So we'll see. Or how do you see it, Martin? Like cycle is not over yet, I think.
Yeah, might be that I'm a permeable. The lower the price goes, the more bullish I become. But on a more serious note, compared to previous cycles, I think this one sort of front ran it a little bit with the ETF approvals, a lot of capital inflows into crypto. So we had a huge bull run, sort of maybe a little bit premature if compared to the traditional cycle lengths and timing in terms of halving. And it's almost weird that we just hit a new all-time high of 110 or 111, and there doesn't seem to be any media buzz. I'm not getting any of the usual text like, hey, should I buy this or that cryptocurrency? So I think this cycle is sort of different compared to the previous one, not only in terms of timing, but also in terms of the capital structure. So we have the ETFs, so institutional capital flowing in. We have this new, completely new sort of angle with the publicly listed companies, as well as the even these days national treasuries, including this as part of the asset or part of their portfolio. And this seems to be the time when the asset class sort of matures.
Yeah. So would you say that like this cycle is powered by institutions and not like retail is not in yet, because we are not like having any alt season per se? Would you say that it's like
Could be.
pressures and
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least the institutional adoption in terms of Bitcoin seems to be growing quite significantly. I think the retail are sort of still on the sidelines to some extent. And during the first run of Bitcoin, we saw a lot of traction sort of in the altcoin space, but everything was pretty much focused around Solana and the pumped up fund meme coin hype. So we didn't get a broad sort of altcoin season, if you want to call it that. Everything seemed to be very much focused on Solana. So I think it was one of the best performing assets, outperforming Bitcoin as well. And the meme coins, well, depending a little bit which one you bought, most likely you're down bad, but occasionally you might hit it home. But yeah, they're very different in that sense as well compared to previous cycles where everything was following Bitcoin with a small lag.
Yes, yeah, correct. If you look at like the correlations like between digital assets and macro, this is a classic chart by Raoul Pal, and it's about like the M2 or like amount of money and Bitcoin's performance. I'm sure you have seen this chart. So like basically like fiat is flowing to crypto and like high beta assets. So this is like the main thesis, I would say. And as long as governments produce more fiat, I think it will flow to crypto and yeah, that's
and other risk assets as well. So I would assume that if you put the Mag 7 or some other stock index chart next to this, the correlation, if not quite as one-to-one as this one, would be pretty close to it. So the more we have in terms of money inflows, the more we see it also on the Bitcoin side. So I think the tech stocks are correlated almost as one-to-one as this one. And then it's an interesting idea that previously all the sort of 4 to 5 year cycles have been according to the halvening. But if you put this global M2 chart on top of the halvening chart, I think this might be a better explanation for Bitcoin cyclicality than the actual halvenings. But that's just my hypothesis.
Yeah, as you mentioned, technology stocks like you can see in this chart, it's a bit small, maybe the details more, but like for example, Microsoft has been very correlated with Bitcoin. So I think like when you move forward, Bitcoin will be a lot more correlated with technology stocks and like S&P 500 and Nasdaq. Like before, people like to repeat it, but in the early years, maybe you remember like 2016 and back then, like Bitcoin was basically this like a non-correlated asset class, and it truly was that it wasn't like correlated with S&P or stuff like that. But nowadays, you would argue that Bitcoin like it correlates with tech stocks, and it basically like acts kind of like a technology stock.
Yes, except with a higher volatility, of course.
Yeah.
But that's sort of the hypothesis has been that it should be a hedge against inflation. I think that thesis has sort of broken down in the past few years. We saw a lot of inflation, but I don't think Bitcoin sort of worked as a hedge against it due to the high correlation with any other risk asset. Maybe in the future we could theoretically see a model where Bitcoin sort of decouples out of this correlation, but thus far, at least in my opinion, we haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's right. And I personally believe that Bitcoin might reach like gold's market cap parity, which means that Bitcoin goes like 10x from the current levels. But like as the power law model shows, I think that we are going to see like a calmer cycles from here on. So I think like we might not see like a parabolic advances like in 2013 or 17. So it will be like because as it becomes more mainstream, that's
yeah. I think that's the benchmark currently. So if you want to do relative valuation models, usually it seems that gold market cap is the one that everyone compares Bitcoin to.
Yeah.
There's a nice 10x still to be made if this happens and comes to fruition.
Yeah.
And theoretically, I don't see any reason why it couldn't happen. There has been some discussions that the institutional money is actually flowing from gold towards Bitcoin. But if the previous chart showing the money supply growing as well, the expectation at least would be that the gold value goes up with it. So what we're sort of catching up to gold, but what will be the actual value of the gold when we reach parity?
Yeah, that's a good question. And as you mentioned, like institutions, like for example, 21 Capital has been now like buying a lot of Bitcoin. Like they have all over like 31,000 units. And do you see this like continuing that? Are we going to see a lot of more like company treasurers, including Bitcoin? And is it like a new thing, I guess?
This could be another 2 hour discussion if we want to go more into detail. Yes, to some extent, MicroStrategy leading the way with this Bitcoin as a treasury asset thing. Now we have some other companies moving into it. You mentioned 21. We saw GameStop buying some Bitcoin into their treasury as well. Whether this is a good thing or a bad thing remains to be seen. So as we know with the MicroStrategy, it's sort of a leverage position on Bitcoin. I wouldn't consider it too high of a risk, because if you look at the notes that have been issued that will mature in 27, 28, 29, I think it's like 6 or 8 billion. The current strike price, at least for the two first ones, is somewhere around $150 per share of micro or strategy.
Yeah.
It's not too bad currently, but my sort of a pessimistic, slightly, how would I say, exaggerated concern is the fact that if we don't see the bull run, or if we see markets melting down in general, Bitcoin having high correlation, MicroStrategy is probably even higher beta compared to Bitcoin.
Yes.
What if we go below the strike price? There's like a strike price plus 140% premium on that for them to convert. But if we go below that and the nodes mature, then that's a lot of selling pressure that could theoretically come online. And one of the nodes had an even higher strike price. But let's say if we have few of these companies, not an issue. But if this becomes a larger trend, and in order to outcompete the other players, you're taking on more leverage, and the sort of risk mitigation tools are sort of left behind, which we have seen many, many times happen with in the crypto industry. It could turn into some sort of systematic risk. And here, compared to the previous cycle where we had the Terra Luna, Triaros, Capital, FTX, domino effects, and a few other pieces in between, now we're coupled together with TradFi. So that's sort of something to keep an eye out for. And it's not only Bitcoin currently. There's Similar Scientific that is doing something similar with Ethereum. You have DFDV that is doing something similar with Solana. And even more on a local level, we can see this happening. So if you look at I think it's the past week or two that we've seen news here in the Nordics, Greenmerk is purchasing Bitcoin as part of their treasury or strategy. Safello is buying a little bit of Bitcoin, and for some reason also BitTensor Tau. We saw Fury doing the same thing. So it seems to be a trend going around. And if everyone hops on the same trend or trade and starts leveraging up,
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Let's look at the altcoins and like altcoin market. So we are basically like Bitcoin's leading the market, and I'm often saying that we might be in it's called like a selective altcoin market, and like some picks like we have seen like hyperliquid going up, but also like one interesting asset which is Monero, like privacy coin has been performing well this year, but like overall. Yeah, Bitcoin's leading the scene, and how do you see it? Like, are you going to see like alt season maybe later this year, like in Q4, or is there going to be an alt season? Is it the thing anymore, or how do you see it playing out?
Look, I'm pretty bad at predicting the prices, but if I would have to give it a guess, I would assume that some kind of let's call it an altcoin season is coming. I'm hoping that it's sort of different from the previous one where every type of shitcoin is going up. Here, I would hopefully we start seeing some actual product market fit. So let's say Ethereum and DeFi, sort of similar DeFi ecosystem being built around Solana. Other new use cases coming out like DePIN and RVAs. And I think that these sort of new trends, if they actually find the product market fit, could see significant gains even compared to Bitcoin. But which protocols and which tokens on top of these protocols are the ones that's sort of the tricky question when you have to pick.
Yeah. Is it also that we might need like a new narrative, because in back in 17
Yeah.
we had this like ICO season, and many ICOs like Eatland was an ICO back then, for example, and like in 24 we had this like meme coin season. We had meme coins before, but wouldn't need like a new altcoin narrative in order to market to go up again.
Yep. And this is sort of what I was going for. I'm hoping that we're actually creating some real value and some utility for the technology to be used for. So whether it's DeepIn or RBAs, but whatever, or what BlackRock's letter, I think, has been saying about tokenizing all securities, I think that could be something where the value prop of the technology can actually be utilized to make the markets more efficient. And this would be something that you could actually start building upon and create some real value and utility, versus the meme coin cycle where, basically we're doing a casino yet again. So yeah, it's been a decade plus since the smart contracts platforms initially launched. So I think it's sort of a high time for us to find the real use case and actually start building on top of it.
Yeah, you're right that is about like speculation, or rebuilding something like that is actually useful. That's like
Yeah.
eternal topic in crypto, I would say, and but of course you could argue that like while I'm mostly interested in Bitcoin, that like I'm not that against like meme coins per se, because you could say that they like represent like a free market in a way that anybody
Yep.
can build their own meme coin and stuff. It's not like bad per se, but yeah, it's
No, you're absolutely right. I might come across a little bit as a critic of meme coins, but definitely not. So I
yeah,
think there will be a few meme coins that have sort of the mimetic value that you can actually sort of monetize. But I'm not sure if we need 1 million plus different meme tokens. So yeah,
yes,
it became a little bit too much with the pump thing.
yeah, yeah. As like Murat Mahmoud has been saying that meme coins actually represent free market economy. So I guess he's kind of right. Then there's this question that how do you deal with all the scams and like bad actors. So it's this is like the eternal question of free markets and crypto and everything. So how to deal with like the whole thing. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. And we do have a lot of legislation that already exists specific to like scamming people and fraud and this kind of stuff. So I think we should hope that the regulators would focus more on that part instead of trying to generate generic regulatory frameworks to stop any of this happening. Because
Yeah.
there's always two sides to the coin. It's like, yeah, we would probably benefit as an industry if we had less of the scammy stuff. But on the other hand, we don't want the regulator to put in place like a framework that tries to block anything from happening. Because currently, if you look at it from, for example, from where we're from, Finland, I would argue that it's almost impossible to launch a token. Not that it's too difficult, even under the MiCA regulation, the part of the issuance of the token, that's easy. But then you start getting into the tax implications of issuing a token, getting a token, and all the other stuff. And that's when it becomes, practically speaking, impossible.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. And as you said, like in Europe, we have this MiCA regulation. There, everything is regulated. But I remember, like in the early days when I was in Bitcoin, like back in 15, 16, we had these conversations that okay, you want to have like free money, and you want to have free markets, but then you need to understand that somebody might use the free market for bad things, and you kind of like accept that. So do you accept it? And it's always kind of like a compromise, basically. So you want to have something, but you need to accept that that's
Yes,
always.
they do say with great power comes great responsibility. So I think our industry as a whole should maybe emphasize the latter part of the saying. So
Yes, that's very well said. Yeah, good points, Martin. As usual, I think you have this event coming, like Quaranax with real reason. This is actually very pretty big thing. So you have this crypto is macro themed live event coming up. Do you want to like cover it a bit? So what is it about? And
yeah, Yeah, so this came sort of as a, I won't say an accident, but a sort of a happy accident, let's put it this way. We were in Dubai with our founder Jonas, and we were at the Token 2049. We listened to ZZ and Raul have an excellent panel discussion, and afterwards, outside of the conference, Raul was standing there. We went to say hi, and he said, "Okay, you guys are from the Nordics. Yeah, I've been there. We actually have a quite active community, but nobody has yet organized a Real Vision meetup here in Helsinki. So we took upon ourselves to do it. This is a few weeks back, and in a week plus, Monday, the 9th, we will have the first Real Vision meetup in the whole of Nordics here in Helsinki. And yeah, it's going to be an excellent event. We have some great panelists joining us. So Andres Steno Larsen will be coming over to Helsinki to give a keynote speech, and then we'll have a panel with him, Mikkel, and Jukka as well.
Yeah.
I'm expecting that we'll have some real expert talking about macro stuff with some interesting insights to not only macro, but also sort of what we were discussing about the treasury strategies, etc. So I think we will cover a broad range of topics, everything from macro to the government bond stuff that is currently going on with the US bonds having no buyers and Japan yields going through the roof. So I'm looking forward to picking Steno's brain about all this stuff.
Yeah. So speaker list looks very promising. I personally like Andres Steno Larsen a lot, and have been following him for a long time and his podcast. So looks very good. So June 9th, be there. I think you still have seats available, and I will add the link to our show notes. So please attend if you're available then, and if you can attend. But yeah, I think we can wrap this up. So thanks a lot, Martin, and hopefully we can have you as a guest again. And
more than happy to come on again. And just as the final note, we have some exclusive Banana Zone related swag that we'll be giving out at the event, and some pizza and beer. So hope to see all of you there.
Yeah. Okay. See you there, and see you next time.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.